Welcome to the masturbating session. It's been a long time since we've seen you all, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yep.
Joining us today is, for the very first time, Zero Hakubi, Natsu Shazneel,
Hi.
or Shazasterman,
Yeah, yeah.
Digital Overlord, and
Yo.
Lord Perfection.
Later.
So, what? So, it's been a long time since I was streaming, and that was because I was like caught up at my exam and some tragedy fell upon my family. Um, but I'm back now. This is probably my last stream for this year. So let's just do something we haven't done, and that is like talk about three things: the good, the great, and the matrix. And let's start with the let's start with matrix because something was, maybe I
Uh,
don't, matrix was resurrected,
yeah.
but the love for it, probably not.
So whose idea was this thinking that it would be a great idea to make this sort of like slash Force Awakens and New Nightmare? Oh, the Wachowskis, right? Okay. Um, Look, I really wanted to like this movie. I watched it about 3 times on HBO Max, and honestly, it's really a disappointment. Best I can give it is a 5. And the thing is, like, so basically, Neo develops, the Matrix. He's a game designer, right? But basically, they tell him like all that stuff that happened was just a video game that he
Oh,
created.
before I stop
Yeah,
you for a second,
go ahead.
we're going to bring up spoilers. So you already won. So just letting you know, if you haven't watched those movies and you came to
Yeah,
the stream and you mind spoilers, don't watch this stream.
yeah,
Not that you will anyway, but
that's what it is. But
so yeah, continue.
yeah. So basically, it was all in Neo's mind, so they say. uh, Him being a game developer. And the thing is, like, when like he's actually this man that creates the Matrix, he's they see him as like he's an old man, you know. But everyone else like fond of him is Neo, and especially where Bugs actually tries to find Neo. They bring back Morpheus. I don't like what they did with Morpheus's character at all. Very lazy, including with Agent Smith comes back and he was just in another body. This movie to me was very confusing. I get what they were trying to do with it, and quote unquote, say like bring up like you know other stuff like saying, "Hey, Warner Brothers wants us to make another one." You know how it is, Matrix 4, and I'm just like, why would you say that in the movie? And I'm like, what are you quoting like something like they doing like New Nightmare? And I was just saying this doesn't work for the Matrix. And I like how they actually were talking about like Trinity and stuff like that. But like when you take these characters and you do nothing with it, you're just gonna fail. And especially with the machines, which is really kind of disappointing because what have they been doing this entire time? Well, you're never gonna believe it. Actually, some of them are kept as pets. I am
Oh my
not even
god.
BSing. I swear to God, they keep some of them as pets. Even Masturbator can be real with what I'm saying. They keep some of them as pets. Like,
The
so
the the thing is, why, I mean, like you brought up like why was this made in the first place?
money.
Matrix Revolution, I mean, of course that, but Matrix Revolution left nothing for them to go by. The
Mm,
most they can say is that they'll see Neo again, but that's not something you can just make a movie on. It
mm,
was left in a tragedy, just ended in a tragedy. I'm not saying Matrix Revolution was a masterpiece, but at the same time, if there was, they really had no sequel for it, and then they
no.
decided to have one, and and so we don't have to like really go from one scene to another, right? We can just like
Yeah, we
talk
can.
about
Yeah,
the
we can
most.
just talk about it. I mean, I'm not going one scene to another. I'm just saying about it. Like, obviously, to be real with it, Neo's character, they try to do a good, decent job with it. I mean, they did try to do a good job with it. But the problem is with Neo's character. I guess Neo's not the one anymore. Trinity is. Yeah, you heard me. Neo can't fly anymore, but Trinity can. So why is that? Neo is supposed to be the chosen one, but I guess Trinity is now. You ask me, that's a load of BS, you know?
I didn't even know some Indian, like, so we had this Indian actress called Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah.
She's the wife of Nick Jonas, or at least if they haven't divorced yet.
Mm,
So, like, in like the Indian media, the print and the electronic media of India
yeah.
are pretty much advertising her. And I like, where was she? And but like the thing with that is,
Mm,
it made no sense to me because like that's one actress, and I don't think she was even shown in the trailers. The other
yeah.
thing is the movie itself is bad. I will just say it, it's bad.
Oh man. I mean, I
It's
get
like
it.
the Force Awakens.
Yeah, it's basically Force Awakens meets New Nightmare. I don't want to say it like that. I really don't. But I see what they were trying to do it. And come on, the red pill and blue pill thing was very lazy. Like beyond. Like that was just like, oh, I need to take this pill or take this one. And I'm just like, dude, this is lazy. And then when they like explain to Neo like, hey, I'm just a person that was made in your games. And when they actually show the other Matrix and just tell them that, I was just like, you, what are you doing here? I mean, you're saying it's all in Neo's mind. It doesn't really exist at all. Okay,
Well,
right.
welcome, Gios, and like he's Omega 12. But what I was going to bring up is,
Yeah.
so my thing is, it's it's one look. I understand what they were trying to do. It's like they were having a bunch of different actors,
Yeah.
probably because they were not available or something happened.
Mhm.
But they were having different characters, and the purpose of this is like a reboot, and everyone like is like this is all like whatever they do, it's jogging up Neo's memory. But my issue is how if the purpose of it is to reboot and it's like having these characters be familiar to Neo, wouldn't you like bring the old cast back? I mean, they brought
Exactly.
Trinity, actress. I thought I haven't seen her since the Matrix movies. I don't know what happened to her. Nice
Yeah.
to know she's doing well. But the Morpheus, you couldn't bring the Morpheus actor
Or
or
Agent Smith.
Agent Smith. You just brought up some random people and you're saying, hey, yeah, they're Agent Smith. This is your Morpheus. This is your Morpheus. What's the point? And I'm like saying is you
Mhm.
could do the same, like, I understand what they were trying to do, but you could do the same thing without having to have those same characters. You can have
Right.
actors playing different things and have a certain role as the
Yeah.
ones in the previous timeline, but you
Mhm.
can also not act like those people are completely changed now. You can't really expect us to believe they look different.
Which is true.
And I kind of wish they just gave people different names even if they have the same roles.
I mean, they were honest. I think they had something going. It's just like the story was just weak.
And
This is how I'm seeing it.
now so like Neo's like in Trinity's place now where she like he doesn't have superpowers but is a badass. Because why
Yeah, that's some
how
BS.
how can you like so how can you have this movie be about Neo but he's no longer the chosen one's Trinity is? You might as
It's
well just play this from Trinity's point of view.
that's what I didn't understand. It's just like I thought this was supposed to be Neo's movie, but I guess not. But I'm just like, how is Trinity now the chosen one? What the
The
heck is going on here?
the world
Um,
may never know.
do you anyone else want to like add something to this? Not so you.
Wait, what movie are we talking about?
Matrix.
Oh, okay,
Matrix.
hold on. So, okay, Matrix. Okay, so Matrix is a movie that I didn't really see much about. So, like, I really have nothing to add about. Sorry.
Okay.
Perfection.
No comment.
Zero.
Oof. I ain't never seen a movie, but my
So it's just you and me here. So this won't take long then.
No, this
The
won't take.
what made me unironically laugh was, and I was so glad I watched it on my laptop,
Mm,
was when like during the last scene where like there was some robot that was like threatening them. If you do this again, I will kill you. And everyone was like, oh, like Trinity just like flies away regardless. He said, all right, I won't do it. Please don't hurt me. Let's see, go Neo. Like that came off as ironically hilarious to me. I
yeah,
don't know if they're planning on like doing a sequel to this,
I hope
and I
not.
have a feeling they will.
it's possibly they actually might do a sequel to it. I mean, if you do, please do a good, better story because what you just gave us was honestly disappointing. You know,
Just like
if you decide to reboot it, it's Hollywood's call.
I don't expect them to really do good sequels these days because I have a feeling this is going to be like the new sequel of Star Wars, where it's a
Yeah,
story that really didn't need a continuation,
yeah,
but they did it anyway, and they might as well haven't. They might as well just leave it be. That's the vibes I got from this movie.
well,
yeah. Mostly, I gave it like I try to be fair with it. Mostly, the highest I can go for this is just a five. I can't go any higher than that. I just
Action
can't.
scenes have been great, and
Yeah, the
look,
action scenes are good.
I like Keanu Reeves. He does
Yes, sir.
work a lot. He does work hard.
Yep.
A lot of people say he doesn't, but I argue that he does. He's genuinely a nice guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like around like what was it, Matrix Reloaded or Matrix Evolution, where he felt like those people who worked in the graphics didn't get paid enough, so he decided to like pay them a huge sum of money
Yeah.
just to as for compensation for doing his work. He's a genuinely nice guy. He's a pretty good action hero. Like
Well,
you can he like his action looks realistic. You
yeah.
can just watch his John Wick movies,
Yep.
yeah.
I mean,
and I
the
like
funny thing is with
his
that
other
is
roles too.
yeah. The funny thing is after when the Matrix 4 was done releasing or whatever, a couple of days ago they released John Wick teaser trailer 4. Yeah.
And there's reason to be excited for John Wick, but I like what I'm like bringing up.
Yeah.
I like Keanu Reeves. I think he did well, and the action scenes have been great. But
Yeah.
these are something you could just it's like the Mortal Kombat Battle of the Realms or Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge. If it's all for
Basically,
the action, you can just watch it on YouTube.
I'm
But
telling people right now, don't see this in theaters. Watch it on HBO Max or anything or anywhere else because to me this is very disappointing for
watch it
anyone
on
that's
pirated site. But
you
like
can do that.
on an honest note, I don't like I will say this, don't like even if you're not spending money for this, you're wasting your time with this. I would suggest wait for like the action scenes to drop in YouTube and just watch it there because there's no you if you liked Matrix, I don't think you will like this. Or maybe you can. It's not some people do like this.
Yeah,
And
it's next.
we can hope the sequels will be good and make this movie make sense, but I
I don't know.
have my doubts. I've seen this dance song and dance routine way beforehand. It never really worked. So why would this time too? But just watch John Wick and just wait for the YouTube videos to come up. Then you can just watch all the action scenes. Because
Hmm.
as of right now, there's no reason to watch this movie.
So hold up a second. Are you saying we should pirate it or something?
Well, I'm always like a pirater. I
Ah, I got
always
you.
watch my shit for free.
I got you. So you're a pirate. Got you.
I never.
Yeah,
I used to. The only thing I watch anything for free. Sometimes I used to wait to buy it on DVD.
you
It's
can.
not even worth buying. It's basically a rental.
I might as well call myself Brownbeard.
Well,
So
well. Sometimes I do like Warner Brothers movies and some things like that, but sometimes they make good movies. But the only problem is poor decisions.
And this was a very poor decision.
Yeah, at this point, I think Critical Geek should have just made that movie, and it would have been better.
I don't
Yeah.
know, man.
Oh great! Now great. My foot is asleep.
At least
Yeah.
he would be aware of the lore or something. But Matrix, 4 out of 10 for me. Critical gave it a 5 out of 10, but I would just go for 4. Um,
I'm being fair with it and giving it a 5. I mean, the critic in me is saying that I give that a 3. But yeah,
I like Keanu Reeves, but
the
this
same. But
is not one of
it's,
his movies.
Yeah, you can't like this movie if you have a man crush on Keanu Reeves, right?
I
Maybe.
mean,
Okay.
mostly if people want it, it's fine. But at the end of the day, the story to me is just beyond disappointing. There's nothing saving that. And by the way, this is canon to all 3 films. Sorry.
It's like a sequel trilogy.
Yep.
You might as well dig up a grave for this movie and just put it there.
Pretty much,
I
but hey,
wonder,
keep showing up Star Wars.
I
I don't
wonder
like
what Matrix 5 and 6 will be called.
I don't
Matrix
know.
Resurgence?
or Matrix out of the system.
I don't know what the Wachowskis have planned. I have no clue. But hopefully
Wait
they
a
do
minute.
something better.
Fifth will be called Matrix Resurgence. The sixth will be called Matrix Recycled.
Matrix recycled. Matrix recycled. Oh god.
Yeah.
Recycled and I'm like, yeah, that's a good title for it right there. Matrix recycled.
There is no end
So,
chapter.
All right, I think we're ready to move on to the next topic.
Yep,
yeah,
Okay.
let's
let's move
go.
to this next segue. Let's talk about the Spider Man movie because
I loved it.
it
Oh,
was
Um, I'm,
fine.
you're not gonna like me. Go on.
I'm planning to
It was
watch
fine
it.
for me.
I was planning to watch it uh they brought what I heard seen on YouTube or something like that that completely blow my mind out.
I mean, like,
Ah, you haven't? What the hell are you doing here?
I mean, basically, uh, it is like I said. I mean, I like it, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's full of fan service, and you knew what it was going to be about. But it's basically like, what if we had a live action, but it's like a Saturday morning cartoon, you know?
I would not like, I think it's bigger than that.
Ooh.
And like, I'll say this. And I know Gias and Perfection have been silent too.
Yep.
But so, Tom Holland Spider Man is not the trilogy I'm a huge fan of. And Far From Home
Hmm.
really pissed me off to a point I had no intention to watch this. So, and I was gonna watch it when they announced like the previous villains of the movie will be back as well as Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
And I had a plan, but then it was cancelled due to some unforeseen circumstances. But
Hmm.
I did ended up watching for free because one of my friends brought a ticket, and one of his friends didn't show up, so I tagged along because he already paid for the tickets. So I basically watched the movie for free, and like I said, I think it's all right. People have been like saying it's a masterpiece, and we don't deserve this. It's out of this world. I don't
Yeah.
see that. I don't see that personally, but it was it was good.
It
The
was.
and I kind of wish Tom Holland Spider Man has been like that in the first place. Otherwise, I would have liked this movie more.
No, no. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I don't think it was good. I'm sorry.
You didn't
Okay,
like it?
well,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the deal. I agree with the masturbator about like the Tom Holland trilogy and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I felt like the biggest one of the biggest issues I have with him is that it feels like he's been carried by other actors in his
Hmm.
hmm
movies. Like I feel like he hasn't had a movie of his own. Whereas like the previous Spider-Man's actors like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, they had to carry that movie by themselves. Um,
and this was carried by other people too, by the way. That's what made it good for me. But yeah, continue.
yeah. So the thing is that I mean I get it. This is the MCU Spider-Man, I guess, and you know
Right.
Iron Man is supposed to play a big part. Like in the first movie, Iron Man played a part. We replaced Uncle Ben with Iron Man basically. And
Yep.
I get that. That makes a realistic sense, but I don't think Iron Man I don't think Spider-Man needs Iron Man. That's the thing. Because Spider-Man is
Yeah.
much bigger superhero than Iron Man is. In the MCU, Iron Man is like huge.
Yeah.
So the thing is like I'm not happy with that change. and
Hmm.
I'm not happy with overall Tom Holland's acting as well. Like he just doesn't like he plays okay Peter Parker, but I just feel like he's just just one dimensional actor. I feel.
Okay.
And
But yeah, what?
I was going to say a lot of people like hate me for this, but I think Andrew Garfield is a far better Peter Parker than Tom Holland is, simply because the third one isn't playing Peter Parker for the most part.
Okay.
I mean, I admit that could be debatable.
Yeah.
That could be debatable. But yeah, but going on to the movie itself, I felt like the plot was kind of very weak. Like I felt like the plot was kind of weak. Um, the reason I feel that way is because in the beginning, so like, oh, I hear a dog. So in the beginning,
For a
uh,
second, I'll stop you. That is Wolf. That is Fenrir the Wolf making an appearance, but go ahead.
yeah. So in the beginning, we find out that Peter Parker needs to talk to Mr. Strange, Doctor Strange. He
Doctor
needs to talk.
Strange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he needs to talk to Doctor Strange. He needs to talk to Doctor Strange about fixing his world because everyone knows who's Peter Parker,
Like Spider Man
and
because of
he's
Mysterio.
Spider Man exactly. So
Yeah.
he's Spider Man. So the thing is that apparently him being Peter Parker being Spider Man is affecting his friends. Like they're having issues going to this college they need to go to, or whatever. They're getting issues being accepted, and he has to go to Doctor Strange about fixing this whole problem.
Yeah.
And in order to fix this problem, they end up they end up like messing up the universe and bringing in some old villains and stuff like that. I felt like the Doc Ock actor.
Hmm.
I feel like he did fantastic. Honestly,
Yeah.
like
Same,
Hmm.
he was
same.
Yeah.
funny. He was funny. He was funny. He's just like how he was before. He's that savage dude that just talks trash about you.
Yep.
I want to like interject to say this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The because you mentioned like the first part, that is where I felt like they were like trying to tell two different movies.
Hmm.
Mm.
Because on one hand, you're trying to have Peter cope with the responsibility, like it's not even his responsibility, but it like he was trying to go with the thing of um yeah, I mean, I messed up and this is affecting my friends too, but then they're just like, oh yeah, let's see the multiverse. But before that, I want to like say this, my biggest problem with this, and with like my biggest problem with Tom Holland Spider-Man, and Natsu touched on it briefly, and it's same thing happened here.
Mm.
Tom Holland Spider-Man, before we even like Doctor Octopus showed up, because that's where things really started to pick up for me. Before that, Tom Holland Spider-Man is like he basically does this stuff and he feels he gets no responsibility whatsoever. To some degree, this movie had him. But on the other hand, it's not by Tom Holland's fault. And he kind of like fixed up his biggest issue anyway, and that is have MJ and his other friend who is like Harry Osborn, but a fat Harry Osborn. What was his name again?
Ned.
Mm.
Ned. But he's not even that. But like that's what I'm saying is he got those two enrolled in the school and like so what was the point? So
Well, I
just
think
and
Mm.
but
nah,
sorry,
go ahead.
perfection. I will just say this. I will and I'll let you finish. I was going to say the other thing is um the other problem I have is like they had to explain like Doctor Strange had to explain. Also, you basically spoilers alert. You brainwashed the entire multiverse because you didn't know you can just like ask for a reconsideration, something like that. And it's like that is something you should have known, genius. You this is all your fault, and they didn't even have it that way until like Doctor Octopus showed up. But I like Daredevil coming up. I do wish we get Daredevil season 4 this time be rated R, even though it's a Disney property. But yeah, Tom, this is the same problem. He caused this shit again, and right now, once again, he's facing villains that are not by Tom Holland's creation. But sorry, perfection. What were you going to say?
Well, I was gonna say just overall with the movie, I did love the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely up there as a classic superhero movie. But one thing that can definitely be criticized is with how easily they got over everyone knowing that Peter is Spider-Man. Let me explain. Like he never really dealt with that. Like it's weird. So like in this movie, you kind of expect a manhunt for Spider-Man to go on. Like now, everyone knows he's Peter Parker. His identity is exposed, and you know the whole world. You know, you got half of the people not caring about Mysterio, and the other half, you know, like viewing him as a potential threat against society. And they never really
Hmm.
gave us. They never really gave us that manhunt perspective, like, oh, it's the world versus Spider-Man. Like, sure, you had a couple of scenes where people were like jeering Spider-Man, but it was never really a sense of danger, and they didn't really dig into oh well, all these normal people are hunting Spider-Man, but he can't hurt them because he's a hero. Like
Played
they
for
did.
comedic effect, yeah. Played for
Yeah,
comedic effect.
yeah. So they just kind of sewed that up, you know, within the first 20 or 30 minutes of the movie, having Daredevil show up and be like, look, Peter, you're fine. You're not legally culpable. You're good. Aunt May, you're good. But we're going to pass the buck over to Iron Man's friend. And I was like, wow, like you took one of the main points of the movie and you just like completely glossed over it. Like, sure, you had some random people giving him bad comments, but I didn't feel like he emotionally suffered from it. All of the emotional suffering came from, wow, me and my friends can't go to college now. It's like, really? It's like you're like, dude, you're a superhero working with Shield, working with the Avengers, your friends, like you know, yeah, that's bad, and I do like that they made him feel guilt over that. But it's like this movie really didn't want to go there with the world versus Spider-Man. It was just like all the villains showed up. It was the villains versus Spider-Man, and I like it. I like that they made the villains reasons for going at Spider-Man pretty simplistic. They didn't need a super over the top articulate reason for going at him, but uh overall I would give this movie definitely a strong 9 out of 10. And had they handled the manhunt perspective a lot better, I would have given it a 10 out of 10.
And like what you said is like you brought up Happy, because if shift the blame shift completely shift to Happy. They didn't show anything from Happy. I didn't think Tom Holland even gave a shit if this shit happened to Happy, and that's like, so this is your fault. Like, not even, yeah, in fact this is Tom Holland's fault. Who gave him a bright idea to give his sunglasses to Mysterio? Had he not given him that, because it was something that was given to him by Tony, you probably, like, you probably would have saved everything including your identity. But that's the thing, like a lot of those things were played by for comedic effect, and things really picked, like this was like a weak section, if I would say. And it's only picked up because of Dr. Octopus, and as Natsu said, he was funny. And what made this even like better is that he was not trying to be funny. Like this thing, like it's not like I do hate when like people just go out of character just for like cracking a bunch of jokes. Every joke Dr. Octopus made, it didn't feel out of character for him because he was visibly confused of what's going on. And he was also trapped in this way, but it wasn't like this guy was an idiot or he just suddenly became an idiot, then become a super genius all of a sudden. It worked with him. He's it was humor, but it was in accordance with this character and given the context of it. And that goes for a lot of villains. But yeah, sorry, continue. Not to continue. I didn't mean to take this that long.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. So yeah, so basically he met Doctor Strange, and he basically bugged Doctor. You know, when he was doing a spell, and he bugged Doctor Strange about that, and basically it turned into something terrible where the villains started appearing and stuff like that. Uh, Now I gotta admit, you remember that part where Peter Parker went to see that lady just so that way he could convince that lady
Yeah,
that she should allow her no his what do you call
friends
it,
to
friend,
come back. Yeah,
yeah, his friends to come into the college and whatever.
MIT.
MIT, yeah. I felt like that part was kind of useless in the end. because you guys, later on in the story, I mean, nobody remembers who Peter Parker is. So I felt like that part was kind of useless. It was just there for fluff. And the fight between Doc Ock and Spider Man was interesting because we got to see Tom Holland's version of Spider Man face off a iconic Doc Ock. Um, but yeah, I just felt like that like her part was kind of useless in the end. And then going on from there, um, we got to see some old villains come back, like that electric guy. I forgot his name.
Electro.
Electrode, yeah.
Green Goblin. Green
And then
Goblin.
okay, Green. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, man. That Green Goblin acting was fantastic.
He's
Definitely.
That guy killed
Oh
it,
yeah,
man.
He
that
stole the
thing.
show.
William
Yeah,
Dafoe is
yeah.
Green Goblin.
William Defoe was going to steal the show. Period. Point blank.
That acting he did was amazing. Like it was just like on a Joker level, in my opinion. Like it was up there. Um, but yeah, after that, I felt like the whole plot was kind of the plot. Like I keep talking about the plot. The plot that really didn't make sense to me is how Aunt May was like, we should save. You should help these baddies. You know, you should help these baddies and not have them die in the end. Uh, to the way they were supposed to die in their universes. So like I didn't understand that plot because in the end that got Anime killed eventually, and then it brought in like those other three guys. I'm not gonna the other two guys. I'm not gonna get into that yet because I think that's like a separate topic we could talk about in this whole podcast. But yeah, like I didn't understand why the heck did Anime want to say bad people, bad guys that basically killed people already.
I like that part and I'll explain later, but like Gias has not been speaking. Gias, you want to say something?
Hmm?
You want to say like as for like before like the Furious Five showed up, they're not Sinister Six. Before the Furious Five showed up, did you want to bring up like what did you like about this movie or not? Or you've already read the spoiler leaks at
I
least.
don't, I don't know.
Oh, zero. You too. Oh, you already.
It's okay. I will plan to watch it because I'm a fan of Spider-Man ever since I was a kid.
What about you, Gias?
Yeah, but by the way, so was Tom Holland. So there's a chance you could be the next Spider-Man.
I I'll go ahead and say some while Gias is getting ready. I definitely think that William Defoe, I everyone was talking about Joaquin Phoenix's performance as the Joker in his movie, like being over the top and great and just like one of the definitive Joker roles. But William Defoe has always been a awesome actor. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was great in the original Spider-Man Sam Raimi series, and he came back here and he killed it. And I
Yeah,
thought it was a bold move of them to have him go throughout the most of the movie without the mask, because like when he cracked his mask, I'm like, okay, well, how are they going to carry this? And I shouldn't have had to worry. He just did his thing. He just came in there. It was Green Goblin without the mask. He was really good as it, and I was not bothered by that. Um, Now I kind of like. I think for obvious reasons, James Franco or James DeFranco was not able to be in this movie, but I would have liked to have seen like both Green Goblins go after both Spider-Man in this movie. Like, but that's just one thing that we'll never get to see for obvious reasons. But I feel as though like we were talking about the whole Spider-Man thing earlier. Who is the better Spider-Man? Tom Holland and his version of Spider-Man. I think with Tom Holland, they've gotten too focused with him just being Spider-Man, but a high schooler. Like they just like they're stuck with that. Whereas with Toby Maguire, you have your traditional mild mannered, joke cracking Spider Man. I think he's the definitive Spider Man. He's the one that started it all. And in my opinion, he's the best on screen Spider Man. And then you have Andrew Garfield, which I feel like with Andrew Garfield, they stray way too far away from him being an intelligent person to just the shit talking uh, aspect of Spider Man. his Spider-Man has many different qualities to his character, and he's sort of like a more astute version of the Flash, like how Flash is actually an intelligent person, but he's overly joke cracking, quick quick witted and all that. I feel like Andrew Garfield is more like, if you were to tell me that Andrew Garfield was going to be the Flash, I feel like he fits that better than his Spider-Man. And that's not to say that his Spider-Man is bad, but out of all the three Spider-Man, I feel like Tobey Maguire is right where he needs to be, right where you would want a Peter Parker and Spider-Man to be. Mild mannered, he has a couple of jokes to crack, but he you get everything with him.
And so, like, another thing to mention is, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I was going to mention, like, the other thing is, I think the bigger issue with like my is like he's not really trying to be Spider-Man, but more like Iron Boy. And now that they complete, like, by the ending, I think they're going to have him be Spider-Man again. But the thing is, throughout most of the time, he was being Iron Man, and now, the one thing I liked is they weren't trying to have him be Spider-Man. I like Natsu said something like they shouldn't have like Aunt May trying to save the bad guys. I kind of disagree with that, on the pretense of the fact that like she saw like Norman Osborn like be confused and lost, and like he pretty much like here's the thing, a lot of these villains weren't really villains, but more of some unfortunate circumstances happened to them or something of their fault, and they screwed up and they have to like live with that. I like the part where like she was like actually trying to give these villains a chance, and that is what like superheroes should be. They don't kill off villains, they try to save them or put them in jail, but like mostly try to save them. I like the I don't want to go off like on a tangent, but Daredevil kind of explained why superheroes don't kill, and that is no matter how many times they have to put these people in jail, they are trying to have them try again to be good people, and that is what this does, and I liked about it. And it's a double-edged sword because those people can like pretty much kill you and all your loved ones, but it worked in this here because like if every villain started to kill, like every villain starts to kill or like send them to be killed off by someone else, even though it's not their fault, then why would you need Punisher? That's the thing. Superheroes are supposed to inspire people and have these villains try again to be good guys. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. It worked here. The other thing that like you said is like I also wished, just for the sake of completing a Sinister Six, and they already had like two, three Andrew Tobey Maguire villains. They might as well give three Andrew Garfield villains. The one thing I kind of wish is like bring back Hobgoblin. I understand why they didn't want to, because you don't want to have like two Green Goblins in the same movie. But it made no sense to me where how the hell is Electro able to know that it's like Peter Parker Spider Man when the actual villain Hobgoblin was the one who knew about that? Because
Mm.
because even by the time he like Peter Parker defeated Electro for good, it was like nobody knew that, not even Harry. And the only way I could see that is Harry tell Electro this is Peter Parker, but he didn't. And it was only Harry Osborn who knew that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I'm talking about the Amazing Spider-Man's villain, and I
Mm.
kind of wish they brought him back because it would make more sense. And he has like more of a legitimate gripe. He's also one of those people who had a legitimate gripe with Spider-Man because when he needed Spider-Man and his best friend the most, he didn't help him. He had to and it was only by chance that he was able to find a cure that would save himself. But all of this could have been avoided had Peter given his DNA or something. And
Yeah.
he felt betrayed and he would actually want to fuck this guy up. I don't see why what issue Sandman had, especially if the story took place after Spider-Man 3, where he actually understood Peter's point of view and actually apologized to him. And
Oh
that's the
yeah.
thing.
I was just gonna
That
say, yeah, that was definitely. I felt like even in the movie, it felt like it was thrown in because when he first showed up, he recognized Spider Man. He was like, "Oh, hey, he was acting all cool and buddy buddy with him." But then the moment that he magically realized that this wasn't his Spider Man, then he went haywire and started joining the villains. I'm like, well, hold up. Well, doesn't that mean that him turning good wasn't really a thing? He just like, oh, I'm particularly cool with this Peter Parker, but I'm gonna be a villain to everyone else in the world. It just that I think that was definitely a messy part.
and it's not really a complaint, but so like I understand why they had to do it. But it was like, so when they like Norman Osborn like broke the Green Goblin helmet, I said, why the and I just like yelled out, why the fuck did he have to do that? Wear the helmet, you look cool with it. But like people heard me and they just like told me to shut up, and I'm like, okay, but
Well,
mm,
I think I'm planning to buy.
Oh, sorry. But I think it would have been. Again, that's another thing that kind of would have supported having two Green Goblins, or at least one be a Hobgoblin, or a hairy Goblin. You could have had William Defoe be the maskless Green Goblin. Have his iconic face on the screen, and then you could have had another Green Goblin, which could have been either the one from the Amazing Spider-Man series, or the third Sam Raimi film.
yeah, and like I also felt like dog like Lizard was completely underutilized too, because he could talk and he was like well aware of what of his here's the thing with him. Lizard wasn't really like Kurt Connors. Lizard was not really Kurt Connors. Lizard was basically the whole DNA thing fucking up his brain, and they never really showed much of him, and that felt a bit underwhelming. But at the same time, like I said, that was where things really picked up, and I think I've been talking way too much. Critical Geek has been silent. You want to add certain things to it, Geek?
Hmm.
I mean, the movie was really good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I know some people may have complaints about that. I get that. And, some of the things kind of were like, wait a minute. Like, especially with Toby Maguire saying that, like, I was sensing there was something wrong with your Peter. I was looking for him the entire time. So I was off scale and I was like, wait a second. So does that mean that he actually came out when Green Goblin was ready to attack him and then Doctor Strange like teleported him to that place? And I was just like, that would make a lot of sense. But other than that, I did like the movie for what it is. I can understand if people don't like the MCU Spider Man, but at the end of the day, I never had a problem with it because I like all three Spider Mans. Even though like
Uh,
Sony messed up on the Amazing Spider Man 2, this does a lot of answers a lot of questions about what happened to them. Like it opens up a lot of things, especially what they actually tell Peter, and especially with Andrew Garfield, Spider Man said, I lost my Mary Jane, which is my Gwen Stacy, and it was very
Aw.
hard. So
but
stuff,
you can like a movie and like acknowledge its flaw. Like I love Dragon Ball Super Broly, but people
yeah,
like tell me it has this and this issue, and they're like, yeah,
I
it
under
could have this
yeah,
and that issue.
yeah I understand you criticizing Masturbator. I get it, but at the end of the day, like there's like Spider Man is like a huge universe, Like we're not even done with it, Just like Batman, for instance, there's like a bunch of Batmans that play different actors. So
Yes.
I think he does an amazing job, and I really do like the actor, and I hopefully hope we get more. Now, there's rumors going around, and I'm not quite sure about this, that we might actually be getting Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire animated. Just a rumor. I'm not sure about that. If we also are getting Amazing Spider-Man 3, I'm looking forward to it. But to me, I think the movie was really a 10. I did enjoy it for what it was. The critic in me would give this maybe a 9 because there were some a little bit of problems with it. You know.
I would give it a 7, a solid 7. But
I,
Mm.
yeah, I would give it a 7 as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go back into that. So the anime thing. So the thing is that no, I get what you mean about the anime thing. Like,
Mhm.
heroes are supposed to protect others, but this started reminding me of Naruto, for example. Like
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
in Naruto, like every single villain, almost every single villain got talked no jutsus and stuff like that. The biggest issue I had with it is that it really only worked because it extended the movie. Otherwise, anime basically died by the by by the goblin. But anyways,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna actually not gonna. I'm not gonna really talk about that. I'm gonna go just go on to the next part where basically we're gonna talk about Toby Maguire, Andrew Garfield, like just popping in. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Mhm.
When I saw Andrew Garfield just come in, right? Like I was like, dude, yes, this guy is in. Like,
Yeah.
I know we heard like rumors about them coming together and junk like that.
Yeah.
But to see that in the movie was fantastic. And I admit I did get hyped when I saw him, and then I saw Toby Maguire as well. He did kind of looked a little aged, but he doesn't look that bad
Yeah.
overall. Like I felt like these two coming in really changed it. But the my biggest issue is that they came in a bit late. Like they came in the movie like for few minutes. I feel like I
Yeah.
wanted to see them more. Like I
Yeah.
would have liked if we saw more scenes with these three together, and unfortunately we never got that. And I felt like into for the superhero universe or in
Mhm.
general, Tobey Maguire played a big role in putting superhero movies on the map, and
Yeah, he did.
he deserves a lot of respect for what he did
Hmm.
for the superhero movie genre. Because if it wasn't for his performance, I don't think MCU would exist.
Or
Well,
I
anytime.
would.
I think I think that Toby Maguire looking older was probably by design. You know, he's like the veteran Spider-Man that's
Hmm.
supposed to have everything, everything together. He's like the the mastered Spider-Man, so to speak. So I think that was by choice from the makeup and development crew. But um, I think that when they came in, when Andrew and Toby came in, I think they kind of overpowered Tom Holland. Like everyone was coming to see them, and they definitely fulfilled the wishes of everyone watching the movie because they didn't miss a beat. Like
Mm-hmm.
Toby was on, Andrew was on. They all had charisma. They all had chemistry. They
Mhm.
played well off of each other. And I think the reason that we didn't see much of them is that they're leaving something for us in the future because I think that Toby could fit into any universe that he's needed in. Like I think he could fit into Tom Holland's Spider Verse, so to speak, as sort of a I don't want to say a replacement to Tony, but like a mentor
Hmm.
figure for Tom's Spider Man.
Yeah, I can
Like
see that.
Mhm.
yeah, he could definitely be that for him. I don't know how they would go about getting it done because if they bring him into the movie, then every single Spider-Man movie from then on, you're going to question, well, where's Toby Spider at? What is he going to be doing to to help Tom? So maybe they should hold off on it for just a bit and maybe just give Toby his own movies again. I think that would work a lot better. Definitely. Like I've already been thinking of stuff. Like one thing that I have on mind is if Venom and Tom Hardy went to Sam Raimi's universe. And I mean I think that would fix one of the problems with Spider-Man 3 since it felt like that Venom and that symbiote was kind of off. And I think that we could get like the full Venom from doing that. Like the big Venom with the big Spider-Man symbol on his chest and finally complete what I want to see with that character as far as the aesthetics are concerned. With Andrew
Oh, don't get
Garfield,
me started. Don't
yeah,
get me started on Venom. But
yeah,
continue.
All right, we're gonna have to dive into it. Okay, we can all
But like
agree.
no, no, no. Let perfection speak. We'll save that for last. But continue perfection.
yeah. With Andrew Garfield, uh, I don't know. He's good. I don't know what they would be able to do with him. Like, because all three of them cannot do a symbiote story at the same time. Because I mean, ironically enough, that's what's missing from Tom Holland's universe. and that's also what's missing from the Andrew Garfield universe. So, and then if they do the Peter idea, or if they do the Toby idea that I just pitched, I don't know if that would be a good look. I mean, I think fans would be into it, but I don't know if that would be good for Marvel at the same time. But go ahead.
Um,
But so I was going to say, by the way, before like Gias was like going to say he was doing something, so he can't speak for a moment. When he can, he'll let you know. But I was going to say this before I like dive more like on Tobey Maguire. I want to like say certain things about Green Goblin, and I'm not like shitting on his role in the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. He was great there, and he was great here too. But the one thing I liked about it that like one thing about like the original one, he was like playing the cheesy villain or something. I mean, he had his like mature moments and stuff, but he was still playing kind of like a cheesy villain, which is all right and which is great. In this one, since he's a little bit more grounded, he was actually there was actually a lot of emphasis on the psychological warfare between him and Peter, especially the one where they were fighting in the apartment. He was beating the shit, but he was also verbally destroying him. And even in the end, where he was like going to like have his girlfriend die, and he was like still like he said like go ahead and kill me. Like Peter said, I'm going to kill you, and he said, "Atta boy." I think since that's a little bit more grounded, they're actually playing a lot of like Green Goblin's psychological effect on Peter, which made the movie far more interesting too, and it makes him much better, is what I would argue. But
mm,
yeah, continue.
Okay,
mm,
I do want to mention about Andrew Garfield though. I feel like he kind of also stole the show in my opinion because of his humor and stuff. Like I feel like his chemistry with Tobey Maguire was fantastic in the movie. They
Yeah,
really played off well with each other.
um,
And it shows that he's improved as an actor as well over the time he's been away from Spider-Man.
yeah, since the third one, since 2007, until he never got back as Spider-Man. I think I'm planning to get all the Spider-Man films and the home series, maybe
hmm,
Venom,
oh, that's great.
because let me tell you this, Venom is like one of my favorite characters now until because personality and super strength.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna like what
Because
they did with Venom in here.
but my dad likes Venom so much.
I do too. Not Tom Hardy's Venom these days, but that is
Well,
like another thing.
yeah.
Sorry,
Something
continue.
I wanted to bring up.
Wait,
Continue.
you don't like Tom Hardy's villain? I mean,
No,
you don't like
no,
Tom Hardy's
no. It's
Venom?
no. I don't have a problem with it at all. This is the problem I have. Why are you going to put him in the movie and just talking, and then like talk about the Avengers and the Hulk or whatever, and then send it back to the Sony verse? Why would you do the
Oh,
Sony universe? Why would you do that?
you know, I heard
But
I'm sorry to cut you off. I heard rumors about Tom Hardy being in this movie, and I just seeing him in the end was kind of like, oh man, come on. I
That's
wish you
why
would
I
have
they're
was
been.
getting to
trolling
that.
us.
Like
Uh,
denied.
I was actually getting to that, but like that's what I was going to say. Like I want to like explain this. I like Tom Hardy as Venom, but I don't like this version of Venom in the sense I don't think he's working for me, and I kind of wish like he was like they kind of acknowledged Spider-Man's existence before they did it, because I don't know, I just liked Venom as a Spider-Man villain, and I mean, like I loved. I mean, I was entertained by him in the second with Let There Be Carnage, and I
Well,
like he was entertaining. I just wish he was like a Spider-Man villain or something
yeah.
to do with Spider-Man, because that's where he's at his best for me.
Well,
And
yeah.
whether as a friend or a foe, but as a standalone character, I don't know. I'm just a bit
Well,
it something feels off about him, if that makes sense.
well, well. To me, when Venom recognized Spider-Man, when he said that guy, he actually recognized him. I bet my theory because every symbiote can feel their senses like one another. Like you ever play the game of Spider-Man Webs of Shadows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it.
And
Yeah,
continue.
yeah. I actually agree with I agree with you. I mean, I do like to see Spider-Man versus Venom because to me they're like more rivals. I feel because they're like
Yeah.
similar but different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Like I would love to see a evil Venom instead of just like a nice Venom. But what if Tom Hardy just decided that hey, I don't like Spider Man and I just want to destroy him? I think that that there could be some sort of rivalry between him and Spider Man. I don't know about I don't know about Holland's version of Spider Man though.
I don't
Now,
know what they're gonna I don't know what they're gonna do to get to all these points because just like thinking about it right now, we I don't think we have an Eddie Brock. I'm pretty sure we don't have an Eddie Brock in the Tom Holland universe yet. So and we'll also have to go through the process of the symbiote binding to Peter first. So how are we going to go about getting to that too? And that's going to be interesting to see how they develop all that. Like I'm interested to see who they'll end up getting to be the Eddie Brock of Tom's particular universe. Who's going to play counter to Tom Hardy? Like who's going to fill those shoes in that particular sense? I think also with Tom Hardy not really being in the movie, I think what they were essentially just trying to tell us is that Marvel got uh, the license to use Venom. I think that that's just like really what they were only trying to do is like, hey, we can use Venom now. We got the rights for however long. We're good to go. I think it wasn't. I think it definitely wasn't about bringing Tom Hardy in, him assisting them in fighting the Sinister Five or becoming a part of the Sinister Six or whatever you guys are trying to infer there.
Okay, I'm gonna say something about that. You know Flash Thompson?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I think he would be the Venom of Tom Holland.
I don't know because Flash Thompson in the comic books, there's only one universe where Flash Thompson becomes Venom, and I think that's the one where he becomes secret agent Venom or something where that particular Flash is handicapped and then the symbiote binds to him and like fixes him and everything. So I don't think that we have the room for that to happen in the Tom Holland universe.
But
Yeah.
like, continue. Sorry,
No, no. What were we gonna say?
I was going to say since we like talking about Venom,
Hmm.
the one thing, like that's where I got turned off. That really pissed me off, and it's
Hmm.
the same too because I actually liked the movie.
Hmm.
So the thing I had an issue with that the most exciting thing that came out, and look, Venom Let There Be Carnage was entertaining, but
Hmm.
it was just something you watch to get entertained by. It's not something to, like it's not really a mind-boggling movie. I would not even call it a great movie. I would say it's an entertaining one. The most exciting thing that came out of that was they actually put him in MCU, and you're like, oh, I actually want to see this. Like, I'm now interested in No Way Home, in the sense that now we could see Venom in Sinister Six, and anyone who has been in like a private VC with me would know I brought this up. There's no way they're not going to bring this up, especially after teasing him. He could be like the sixth character, and I was sure because that's what this movie tried to imply. Because what's the point of like teasing him in like Let There Be Carnage before No Way Home and then have him appear after No Way Home? So they did kind of bring him up, but then I watched them. Like my biggest issue is like they just like in the mid credit scene they put him in the MCU, and then the next like in the mid credit scene followed up by that movie, they put him back to his universe, and I was completely annoyed because not only did it feel like a complete bait, because if you're going to do it you might as well shouldn't, you might as well just leave it in his own universe. The other thing is, and people like that's a lot of people say, oh, Venom is in the MCU anyway, what's your issue? People didn't want the Venom symbiote in the MCU, they wanted Tom Hardy's Venom. And i'm not a I'm not, what do you call it, appealed, not appealed, I am not very I'm not very favorable towards the idea that they're going to create a separate Venom. I feel like there could be potential to have to be
Oh,
have with like a black suit with Spider-Man, because now Tom Holland's like angry because pretty much all his friends forget him, and his aunt's death is kind of, he blames himself for his aunt's death and everyone's forgot him. I think there's potential, but at the same time, they're going to create a completely separate Venom, and I don't want this to be Agent Venom. I don't. And look, it's not. I don't like this Flash Thompson at all. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's an Indian. I'm an Indian too. He's just not for me. I actually prefer Flash as a bully, but with a heart. This one is a complete comedy. He's a comic relief, and that's all there is to him. And I fucking hate him because he's done this for the sake of being different, which is why we don't have Mary Jane here. Instead, we have Michelle Jones and Ned, a completely obscure character from Spider-Man comics, is suddenly his best friend now, and that fucking sucks. This one sucks too because I have a feeling, like as Natsu said, and before that Gia said, they're going to put the symbiote on Flash Thompson, and I'm not favorable at the idea. Even if this has happened in the comics, I can't buy this version of Flash Thompson as Venom. And if they're going to bring a new Eddie Brock, it still sucks too because now we have two Eddie Brocks and two Venoms, and that is where I wish they should have added him either as a primary character, like as like the sixth villain for Peter to face, or better yet, just have him. If even if you're going to do it anyway, just have him be in MCU and have him fight Spider-Man. Any interaction with him, just give me something with him and Spider-Man. But instead, they just fucking put him back to the Sonyverse, and now we're going to see more Venom without Spider-Man. It's not doing it for me, and this is why I was completely upset. I kind of wish he stayed in the MCU at least for a little more, at least for one movie.
Well, I think like it's a lot of questions that are brought up for me for like how they're setting this up because number one, I don't. It's weird, but let me explain. I don't think that Venom birthed a new symbiote like how he did in the Let There Be Carnage movie, where like for that split second he, I guess, or Venom gave birth to Carnage. I don't think that
Yeah,
that's what happened. I think it was just literally he left a little piece of himself behind. So then the question becomes: is this going to be a new like symbiote, or are they just splitting Venom into two halves? Like half of him is in the Sony verse, and then there's another half of him in the MCU. Like that's one question I had. Now if he did birth a new symbiote, okay, fine, whatever. I'm actually cool with that. But that's one question I have. And another thing is that they definitely didn't set up for a Eddie Brock, nor have they set up for Thompson being Agent Venom, because the two things that you need Peter working with J. Jonah Jameson to even have the interaction with Eddie Brock, because that's where Eddie Brock works, in order
hmm
for them to have the rivalry and to set up the whole story. That's what they would need if they were going to go down the Eddie Brock path. And then on the other hand, you would need the Flash Thompson of the MCU to actually go to the military, become handicapped, get introduced to Venom through, I guess, I think, did it happen through Nick Fury or did they meet before then? I don't know. But they definitely don't have all the pieces to set up this Humpty Dumpty with this particular Venom. So that those are the confusing aspects of it. Um, is this Venom going to be the same Venom as before? Like, we going to have like a guy voice, or are we going to have like a girl voice? Because one thing that has to happen, which I would feel more comfortable if it was like a girl Venom, is that Venom has to become obsessed with Peter after they bond, or like, for like this particular Venom has to, like, their whole thing is that Venom only wants to be bonded with Peter because like he's like like the best specimen on Earth, and he has all this power. Da 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 da. So those are like the burning questions that I have with them doing this whole Venom in the MCU.
I like yeah, and that's the thing. But I will personally, I'm not. I think they could do what you're doing. I think at the same time they won't. I think they're going to have like a very stupid way of doing this. That
Okay.
is what like MCU Spider-Man did to me.
Mhm.
Every potential story, they just like do it in the most stupidest, the most mind-boggling ways possible, and this is no exception. Like I said, I kind of want like I just wanted like people say, well, they wanted Venom in the MCU. Yeah, they wanted Venom to be in this movie or play a prominent role instead of appearing from one mid credit scene to appearing in the other mid credit scene. Like it just doesn't work. But we'll see. But sorry,
Okay.
not to.
Yeah. So, yeah, we did talk about Venom and stuff, but I wanted to know what are you guys' thoughts about Zendaya's performance as MJ and Ned. Like, how do you guys think they did in the movie?
Personally, my first impression was I always see her as a kid, and
Mhm.
when I find out that she's 25, I'm like, she's older than me. Impossible. But I always see her as a kid, and along with him and like Ned. Ned looks more grown up than Peter and MJ in question. But the other thing is, I don't like, I never had an issue with her in the sense that I understand that she has this like edgy, disappointing mentality where she's trying to be a smartass and shit. I don't have an issue with it, but I also see why people would like be like, yeah, that's not MJ. That's this girl trying to be cool for the sake of trying to be cool.
And
And Michelle Jones, along with Ned, are two obscure characters in a Spider-Man comic that just made to be prominent in this one. And I like it. She's there along with Ned for the sake of being different because none of them act the way they do, and it just I just don't I don't have an issue with MJ. My bigger issue is with Ned, but because Ned has built basically nothing to offer, he's annoying to me. And even like a scene where he was like pretty much giving away everything. Oh, it was me. I already knew about Spider-Man. Like fucking hell.
Mhm.
How are you so stupid? And he's basically a comic relief along with Flash Thompson. I just don't like him. I've at least Michelle Jones was more multi-dimensional than Ned was, and that I don't know. I don't mind her. I mind Ned, but I see why other people have an issue with her.
I don't like her because I think she's being used to replace Peter's like shit talking side as Spider-Man. Like
Yeah,
she's annoying, abrasive in every scene she's in. Like she's cracking jokes when she goes to Doctor Strange's apartment lair, whatever. Like she's the one making all the quips and stuff. And I'm like, no, that's supposed to be Peter. So basically, what they're trying to do is split Peter's characteristics between the two, and it doesn't work. Like you got Tom Holland, he's overly mild mannered with none of the spice, and they gave all the spice to the Zendaya character, and
yeah,
I think that's why a lot of people don't like her. It's not so much with her not being the red haired Mary Jane that people are accustomed to. She's just an annoying character that really doesn't fulfill a purpose beyond being the love interest of Tom Holland. And I think that the sooner that they get, I feel like they should do the Black Cat storyline. I think that it's
hmm
time they introduce Felicia Hardy as a love interest that can actually get what Peter is doing in the world. Like both of them share the burden of secret identities and being heroes, or they could have the whole Batman Catwoman thing going on. But I feel like it's definitely time for Zendaya I think it's time for her character to go ahead and pass along. Like, if you want to use this movie as an opportunity to write off this MJ, go ahead and use this as an opportunity to write off this MJ. Like, let Peter have the responsibility of saying, you know what, I've already been through a universe where I see what it gets MJ for being involved with me. I'm gonna leave her alone and let her have her own private life, and then you replace her with Felicia Hardy, with Black Cat, and then there's a whole new dynamic worked up here. Now Ned, I don't know. I feel like he suffers from having the problem of there being too many comic reliefs. Every universe or every movie needs one, and Flash Thompson is supposed to be that one because he went from being your typical bully to just being the comic relief. Okay, whatever. And Ned, it's like they don't want to make him a nerd because of a stereotype. So they just have him be the goofball idiot. And I'm tired of that too. Like, he could be, you know how in Danny Phantom he has a Tucker, and Tucker is smart, and he's still somewhat of a comic relief, but Tucker is smart, he's tech savvy and all that. Just go ahead and let Ned be that. At least he could serve some kind of purpose. At least like where Peter, he has like a light knowledge of technology. Ned could be that guy that says, "Oh, you got all this Stark tech? I know about all this. I'll be the guy that's the expert on this. You just stick to being the superhero." Like, they're missing a lot of opportunities with using the side characters.
And like that's the thing. Like firstly on the Michelle Jones thing, like I said, I understand because like a lot of people said she's annoying and she's pretty much like taking all the spice. She's a shit talker. I'm not annoyed with that, but I see why other people will be annoyed because, as you said, it's like Spider-Man is also a shit talker, but you're giving it to Zendaya, and I see it why they're doing it, but at the same time, like it, I don't, like I can see why it's an issue, but at least I might like I'm not like when I like not when I said I don't have a problem with it, I'm not like putting it in a certain standard. I'm just saying I like the other characters are in such a low standard where Michelle Jones comes off as fine to me because at least she's more of a character than Flash Thompson and Ned. And as you said, like Ned suffers the problem of too many side characters. That is one thing because how is he special? Because you already have Flash Thompson doing the same thing. The other thing is, with like Ned is, um, I actually like if you're going to like present him as your like Peter's best friend, he always comes off as a third wheel, and that is only for the purpose of comic relief. I kind of wish he actually come off as a friend who would be there for Peter through emotionally without having Zendaya involved. You can have him give Peter a pep talk, and for example, and I hate to bring up a game here, but in Spider-Man Miles Morales, they had a friend who in one scene where like we Miles Morales was talking about how he couldn't live up to Spider-Man, and he said, "You don't have to be your own character." Certain things like that, and it just doesn't work with Ned because every emotional pep talk he's either getting it from Michelle Jones or Aunt May or sometimes even Happy. And like that's what I'm saying. What is Ned? What is the purpose of Ned? You might as well just have Harry Osborn around. Even if he's going to be evil, at least like even if he's not evil, like just what's the purpose of Ned? And like seriously. And that's the thing. But and as you said, like they tried to like not have him be nerdy, fat. He's already fat by the way. So they're just having him be something else, but that's also played out. And one of the jokes is like he's a fat guy. The the comic relief characters always have to be fat guys. Have you ever noticed that?
No.
Yep.
I it's- I don't know. I mean, they're trying to like say that they're being different, they're being diverse and everything, but Ned is playing the stereotypical fat guy in a movie. And like if you're going to like spread diversity and acceptance of other people, you might as well promote the purpose of body positivity if you're going to do it. But I don't know. I'm not Disney. I'm
Yeah,
not a corporate company. So
yeah, you're not Disney, you're India. But
yep.
anyway, um, the reason I brought this up as well is because I feel like in the end, they just give us a hint that they probably won't be in the next movie, probably because the whole relationship of this version of MJ is based on her knowing who Peter Parker is. So if she doesn't know Peter Parker, how the heck are they gonna, reconnect together? So I'm hoping that they move on from MJ and Ned, so that way we get a movie based on Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man. And I would like it if MCU kind of backs off and get all these Doctor Strange strangers out of the movie. So that way we can have a movie based on Tom Holland, so we can give him the time to shine and see how he does as an actor by himself.
Before you bring this up, because like I want to bring up Doctor Strange. I feel like I didn't mention him. I like Doctor Strange in this movie too,
Hmm.
but I mean, like I think they're trying to save him for this, like his own movie. By the way, that trailer was beautiful. I like that trailer. That
What
probably
the
made my day.
what
The
you the multiverse
so
of madness?
yeah, because that occurred after during the post credit scene after all the credits were rolled over. So, but I mean, some people were saying he was like disappointing in the sense that he could have beaten Peter, but he wasn't. I understand that, but it was like a Spider-Man movie. I don't think it would serve a good purpose of having him fight Peter and win. But I see why, because the Sorcerer Supreme is just lost to some kid because he knew maths and like what? But I liked him.
I
He
actually, sorry to cut you up. When it comes to fights in this movie, I actually like that fight the most in the movie. Like Doctor Strange versus Spider Man.
yeah.
I
Well,
like that fight. Yeah, but go
well,
on.
um, when I get a chance next month, I'm think I'm bringing my family with me to watch the film for myself.
Well, you're already spoiled as well, but
Sometimes,
I'm
sometimes I
sorry.
some sometimes I forget.
I'm sorry, by the way, for
It's
spoiling
okay.
you.
It's okay. No hard feelings.
But like I like Doctor Strange, but he was a bit disappointing. He pretty much like he lost to a kid because he knew maths, and it wasn't even like a loss. It was just being outsmarted. So I guess that he has that going for him, and he was not even like trying to kill him because had he fight for real, Peter would have lost instantly. But I liked it. I
I'll be
didn't. I liked him,
I'll be right back,
but
guys.
William Dafoe is like a show stealer,
Oh, he
and
is.
I think that's pretty much that movie. Unless anyone wants to add something else.
Let's see. I already said it earlier. Where do they go from here? Is Toby Maguire going to replace Doctor Strange? Because I think Doctor Strange has definitely ran his course of being Tom Holland's mentor character. I mean, we've had
Hmm.
Tony to a lesser extent. We've had Happy. We've had Doctor Strange. So there is definitely a spot for someone to come up and be that new mentor character. And another thing that I thought was weird, it's like they showed the scene of Peter moving into this crappy apartment, and I'm like, we're just gonna pretend like he's not somewhat of an heir to Stark's fortune. I mean, he inherited all this technology. You're telling me that he doesn't have some money from Tony? Like really? Like I felt like that was weird too. That was another off thing, but I'm
Hmm.
just interested in seeing where the series goes.
Same. But
So
the ending was good. It made you think about what's gonna happen next.
I like that's what I was going to say. I like the ending for the most part because a soup like Tom Holland Spider Man, and that is like why I said like I wish they had this kind of Tom Holland Spider Man instead of what you saw in Far From Home and Homecoming. At least this one actually like decided to save the entire universe instead of. I mean, what I was going to say, I think he made a sacrifice to save the lives of millions, and that worked for me. and I kind of wish he did more of that, so I would have liked him more. The other thing is, I actually like the conflict where Tom Holland like going from I want to kill this guy to I want to cure this guy, and it finally culminated like him saving the guy, but he was very close in killing Green Goblin, and that's where Tobey Maguire came in, and I liked his role there. And I actually want this to be like a soft reboot where they acknowledge the events of the past, but just have him be Spider-Man and completely different, and just get all of these characters away. Since he's in MIT, like you can have him be around Harry Osborn or Mary Jane, just
Or
something.
Gwen
I mean,
Stacy
or Gwen
in that
Stacy.
universe.
Everyone
I'm
forgets about Gwen
sorry.
Stacy.
I'm sorry. I was like hooking up my PS5 and
Yeah,
I was just getting pissed off because some of my stuff wasn't downloading. So
I'll say this about the movies. One thing that I'm hoping that they eventually do, because this is one thing that has always bothered me with Tom Holland Spider Man, and I think I see them getting there via the symbiote, because eventually they are going to have the symbiote movie, whether it's a male or female, whatever. But it's going to be another story about Peter using a suit to have the power. And what I'm hoping that they do is I hope they do a Man of Steel type of thing where you know how by the end of the movie, like, yeah, we've seen him in the Superman suit, but you have to wait all the way to the end of the movie to actually see him don the Clark Kent disguise. What I'm
yeah,
hoping that they end up doing here is that by some point in the franchise's line of movies, like when they eventually do the Venom movie or Black Suit Spider-Man movie, I hope we get to a point where Tom Holland Spider-Man makes his own suit. I've never really liked the concept of him relying on like technology, so you have to doubt whether it's Spider-Man doing the work or whether it's the
hmm,
suit doing the work. I've always liked in the past where Peter made his own suit. It showed that he was intelligent enough to at least know how to make the materials and make his own suit and not have to rely on some space age technology. So to see him get back to basics and actually be Spider-Man and not just be Iron Man Spider-Man is something that I want to see through them using the black suit and having whatever additional movies take place.
yeah. Um, but yeah, like 7 out of 10 for me.
Uh,
Gias, you weren't like silent. Go ahead, Natsu.
no, I agree. 7 out of 10 for me as well.
eh,
He gave it
I,
a 10.
I really believe that the movie was like rushed because it really seemed like it was missing a lot of stuff. Like, okay, all the villains came. So if like all the villains came, where was Toby and Andrew at?
Yeah. And what happened after the movie, where like villains and heroes transported to the universe? It didn't like show anything about them. We just assume they're doing all right. But yeah, I agree.
And and the Toby and the Green Goblin scene. To me, it just seemed like they didn't like really show that they actually knew each other. They just showed Toby just stopping Tom from killing Green Goblin. It doesn't it just seemed a little bit off to me though.
And then got stabbed, and they didn't really like have an
Yeah,
interaction.
like
Yeah.
yeah, it just seemed off.
All right. So what was the next thing we were going to talk about?
Okay, so let's drive to another segue. It's about Jump Fester. And surprise, surprise, Dragon Ball was not the like as much as how all the Dragon Ball channels want to believe. Dragon Ball Super Hero. Critical, you want to say the title of the movie?
Oh, you mean that? Yeah, Dragon Ball Super Heroes movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
like yeah, the Japanese way you do it. But
yeah. Basically, the highlight to Jump Festa to me, is, my opinion, was Bleach. One of the biggest animes actually going to be coming back doing the Thousand Year Blood War arc.
that's what like yeah, that's what I was going to say. It this time Dragon Ball really didn't make the headlines. It was Bleach. because people were looking more forward to Bleach than Dragon Ball at this point. And so let's talk about Dragon Ball because it won't take that long. They showed one trailer and they showed Gohan being in the movie. I kind of wish they have Gohan. So I don't know what they're going to go with because they're saying they're going to emphasize on Pan a lot more. So I'm wondering if she's going to like beat. So Gohan's going to get his ass kicked by this android, and like Pan beats him or Gohan beats him anyway. But um, I like the fact that they're using Gohan in a more prominent role this time because he pretty much disappeared from Dragon Ball Super Broly, and now he's doing something and he looks cool. He's wearing Piccolo's clothes, and he like his design is good. I wish he drops off the glasses already, but I guess they want to show a nerdy Gohan anyway. And wouldn't it be like more logical to take those glasses away? Because what if someone punches in the eye and glass and like there are pieces of glass in your eyes? I don't know how that's logical for him. But they wanted to show the nerdy Gohan. But
Okay,
personally,
okay.
go
So,
ahead.
so speaking of Gohan, I mean, I looked at his character design, and it looked like Cell Saga Gohan, Cell Saga
Yeah,
Gohan when he went to Super Saiyan 2 and stuff. And I know we had to talk about this, and you said that he's gonna have a new transformation.
I think because mostly doesn't need a Super Saiyan transformation, he could just go by Ultimate Form. Unless
Ultimate,
he forgot his Ultimate Form already again, which is really stupid.
like Ultimate Super Saiyan form.
That's what I'm assuming.
Okay. Well,
But we'll see.
Well, I have my thoughts about what this movie is going to be because I think this movie, they've already confirmed it's not going to be as high powered as Dragon Ball Super Broly. But what I think they're going to end up doing here, I think this is going to definitely be a more light-hearted movie. I think what we're going to see here is that Pan is hanging out with Piccolo since she thinks Mr. Piccolo is cool. Maybe she's seeing her dad in everyday life and he's lame old dad. And I think this is going to be sort of like weirdly like Turbo Man, like where Gohan is trying to prove that he's cool to his daughter, and he gets the opportunity like facing the Gammas, like, oh, this is what dad used to be like back in the day. Oh, he's so awesome, he's so cool. And I think that's what they're going with in this movie. I don't think it's the fate of the world at stake. I think it's just going to be a big scuffle that breaks out, and it's going to be Gohan earning the respect of his daughter. And I think that's what we're going with here.
And like another thing to mention is I like so the reason I thought Gohan's going like the ultimate Super Saiyan because Gohan in both the anime and the manga said I'm not going to turn into a Super Saiyan again because I'm trying to rely on my own power and I don't want to use my Saiyan power, but here he is using Super Saiyan form. But that's what I'm saying. This is probably why I think it's going to be like an ultimate form on top of a Super Saiyan, but I don't know.
I
I think they're just going to just have him be use ultimate form only.
I think I think it's ridiculous because it's just like Gohan never learns his lesson. Apparently, I mean, we went from him going from the Buu saga again, not training, being ignorant of his training, losing all his power to the point where Frieza could just body him in first form, to the point now where he does regain his fighting sense. But oh, well, I'm just not going to transform for some reason. When you see it through your father, his, Vegeta, everyone else, not just the Saiyans, everyone else, you see how important transforming is. But you're going to be that guy that has access to transformations. You're just not going to use it. Like, just tell us you don't want Gohan to be important anymore at this point. Like, sure, he's the star of this movie, but in general, to the scope of the entire series, they just constantly set Gohan up for failure. Like, they're not letting him reach the potential he should. Like, everyone knows that Gohan should be able to become a Super Saiyan God or at least reach similar heights to Goku and Vegeta, but they just constantly make him not even second tier. They just keep on trying to relegate him to this weird third or fourth tier where even though his wife is rich and the family that she comes from is rich, oh, Gohan has to have a job and has to become a scholar. Like, what the? It doesn't even make any modicum of sense. Like, what are they doing with this character? So I can understand why the Gohan fans in particular are mad, but with this movie, I think it definitely is a slight bit of Gohan fan service. They gave him the OG Cell Saga outfit for a reason. They'll probably have him go Super Saiyan 2 against this guy, and Goku and Vegeta might get one fight against the person, but for some reason they don't finish off the gammas and they just let them go, and it's going to be Gohan's job to finish them off. And I feel like it's just going to be a run-of-the-mill Dragon Ball movie, sort of like Yo Son Goku and his friends return. I feel like there is going to be that level of lighthearted.
Because like you made like an interesting point. Because a lot of people, and like I can't believe people still say this. So two things. People say, "Oh, Gohan not resorting to his sane powers is actually good writing." I said no, because you're basically risking your life getting killed, but not only your life, but the lives of your loved ones, your wife, your daughter, your father-in-law, your mother, all for the sake of how you feel towards a certain battle. And people say Gohan should be happy and he should not fight anymore. And I'm like, have any of you like missed the purpose of like Android 16 speech before he died, where he said you don't have to like fighting, but it's not wrong if you're fighting for what's right. And I just, since we just discussed about Spider-Man, and we could like use a lot of this case here, an interesting story is where conflict is there. And it's what Total Not Mark said too. I know how you feel about him, but I was going to say what he made up is an like compelling point is you can have Gohan try to live this family life and work, but at the same time, when the when the life of his father or anyone is involved, especially the planet, you'd like, are you telling me that he couldn't train? That there's no like he's just like he's just allows his father to fight and get nearly killed multiple times. You really couldn't have this, like you couldn't really bring up a conflict where he's struggling with his family life and his warrior life, where he has to fight, but at the same time also be a normal person. And that is like an interesting story that they could have done, but they don't want to. But another thing is you can't tell me that Gohan just giving up fighting is good writing, because now you're just like shitting on his character development from the Cell Saga. What's up? Like the whole purpose of Super Saiyan 2 Gohan was he finally let go and he finally accepted the fact that he has to protect this planet, and now he's actually living up to his potential. Then you just have him be weak again, and now they're just nerfing him for no reason. And as you said, Gohan didn't learn his lesson. Why aren't you fighting with all your strength instead of essentially fighting with one arm tied behind your back? Why? Because you feel a certain way, but your fucking planet is being threatened with. You should be fighting with your fullest capabilities, whether you succeed or not is another thing. But that's actually worse. That makes his character worse because it's regression. And yeah,
Oh no, it makes his character worse than what people depict Goku or Vegeta's characters as. Like, okay, like one thing that they always try to give Gohan a point on is, oh well, at least he works to support his family. It's dumb because he doesn't have to. It doesn't work in the narrative of the story because when Vegeta and Goku bum off of their wives, you gotta acknowledge the fact that Chi Chi was like the princess or the daughter of a rich king or whatever, so she was kind of set. And Goku could win a term at any time and get some money. I don't know, especially with them now being the in-laws of the world's richest man, the world's most famous man, Hercule. They really don't have a reason to work. Same thing with Vegeta. Vegeta married into a super rich family, so therefore it makes sense that he doesn't work. Like all this whole notion of obligation for Gohan to work, it makes no sense when you're literally with the daughter of the richest person in your world, your universe. You are not obligated to do that. Like I could see it if they were a normal family in that universe, it would make sense. But with everything being set up the way, it just makes Gohan seem like a coward. Unfortunately, it's like your dad is the only line of defense for the planet Earth, and you're just sitting up here over to the side, dawdling around, doing nothing. You could be training with Whis and Beerus too to become a strong, backup plan, but you're doing nothing just because you want to go and live a life of peace. It kind of spits in the face of future Gohan's legacy. He had to take the reins and take the responsibility of the planet Earth in the future, but now you got his present self that has all the power, all the teachers, all the mentors, all the capabilities, and he's doing nothing at all but sitting on his ass, doing
And
nothing.
to add to your point, you can't really support your family if they're dead. And that is especially the case in the Moro saga, where he basically, like, this weird goat like weirdo, like, invaded your planet. He's threatening to eat the life of your planet and kill everyone you know, and you're not fighting all out because you don't want to rely on your sane self. Get the fuck out of here, buddy. You're basically letting you're basically sacrificing the love of your loved ones. This is the most opportune time where you should fight seriously, and even before the tournament to power up, because in the manga they said like Gohan was not going to turn Super Saiyan to fight Kefla because he wanted to rely on his. That's where they said I want to rely on my human self. Buddy, your universe is getting threatened with. If you don't go all out, you're doomed. And fortunately for you, it was thanks to your father again for saving you. Otherwise, and that's the thing. And people will say, oh, ultimate form is like Gohan's strongest form. Ultimate form is not even a form. It is Gohan's latent potential increased to its being increased. Like his sleeping strength waking up. He can go Super Saiyan on top of it, but he doesn't want to. Now they're treating Ultimate Form as a form when it shouldn't be. And
Yeah,
that's
they always they definitely that's one thing that Dragon Ball Super ruined. It got majorly confused.
and
Let,
that's
let's be real. We all could blame Chi Chi for that, right? Because like, see, she was the only one that was like planning this idea, and Gohan, mine, and keep on telling him he got to do this and do that. Don't fight. Like you got to study. You got to be like a what was it in the Dragon Ball Z?
scholar.
Yeah, like Gohan got to be a scholar. Like you got to blame Chi Chi for that because he planted the idea in his head. So he's just gonna keep on. He's just gonna keep on disappointed on his father and everybody else.
But what
Well,
about a
here's the
robot head telling you that it's okay to fight all out? But no, my mother's words is of gospel. But continue.
But here's the thing that doesn't make any sense, or that would make more sense. Like for the kind of lifestyle that Gohan is leading, like it made sense. Let me explain this. It made sense for how Trunks and Goten eventually grow up and they turn out to be like typical Earth teenagers because they didn't go through everything that Gohan did. They went through the Buu saga, yes, but they viewed that as mostly like a game because they were immature, and it made sense that they kind of grew up without being like warriors, and they were sort of laid back and chill because they were like either less than 10 years old, and they didn't take anything seriously. But with Gohan, it definitely doesn't make sense because he has a thorough understanding of how dangerous everything is around him. This is the guy that went through everything in the Saiyan saga as a kid, everything in the Frieza saga, everything in the Cell saga, being the center of that, everything in the Buu saga as an adult, So he has a thorough understanding of what will happen if Goku, for some reason, isn't able to, defend the Earth. He's the only and main line of defense, and he's slipping into this position of over relying on Goku. Like, oh, Dad's got this. What happens when Goku goes away? Like in GT,
You got
Gohan can't do
Vegeta.
anything. Yeah, Gohan can't do anything. So just like in Super, when Frieza showed up, Frieza could have at any moment exterminated Gohan. He was just toying with him in first form. That should have been the last point that we saw Gohan not train. It should have been from that point on, like, now I get it. Now I understand. Forget this scholar stuff. I have to be on top of my training because there's going to be instances where Goku or Dad isn't here. But no, they've made Gohan the dumbest character in this franchise because he has all the tools necessary. He's had hundreds of examples of what'll happen if he'll let his training slip, and he just constantly does the same thing.
And I like once again, and I want to say this: Coffee Bean and I made up. He's cool now, and I especially like the fact that he ripped into one dragon. But fucking hell, like it's not about being happy; it's about being responsible. And you can have Gohan be a scholar if you have to, but then you also have to make him a warrior, and that is, man, like we could like have this discussion. We could have like a 2 hour long discussion about this, and we still wouldn't be able to explain fully what is wrong with Gohan this time. But to what I was going to say, I like the fact that he's the main character, or he's playing a form prominent role. I do hope he gets to beat a villain at a who do hope he fights, judging by the trailer, since he's now using Super Saiyan forms again, fighting without having like fighting with full power this time. Actually using ultimate form on top of a Super Saiyan, but I don't know. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, maybe it doesn't even exist. I don't know. But
Quick quick question. Wasn't Gohan supposed to be the main character after the Cell Saga?
yeah, but the fans just like, no, we want Goku. So Toriyama's like, yeah, you'll get Goku. Because the original
So
thing is Gohan would struggle against Super Buu, but then he would like go all out or use the plot armor to beat Buu, but somehow they just gave it to Goku. But yeah,
so basically they're just treating Gohan like Vegeta, and then
Piccolo,
future Trunks,
like
and
Piccolo,
then like yeah, and then future
like
Trunks
Piccolo.
is the Goku. But that's kind of messed up though. And you like remember in the original Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta and Nappa stated like if a Saiyan is like mixed with a human, they could be stronger than a Saiyan, right?
Yep.
And now we got Gohan is like the complete opposite, and then we got future Trunks that's just following the original story.
As TFS puts it, Gohan is the strongest in the universe that doesn't do shit. But continue, not to viewer and geeks. What were you saying, not to sorry?
Wait, what? Oh,
You were like we were talking about Gohan, but continue.
yeah. I know we were talking about Gohan, and I agree. Like, it's kind of weird how his story has been so far because they just restarted it every time and stuff. But yeah, as far as the movie's concerned, I think a superhero movie would suit Gohan because he was the greatest Saiyaman. I hope we get to see Greatest Saiyaman in this movie actually, and see how he performs. But other than that, I think I'm pretty much done with the topic because I still don't know much about the movie, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna wait for more details to come out. And as far as like the animation looks, I mean, it looks like a video game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know why they couldn't go with Shintani's art style, but I like the CG in this one. But basically, short story short, because we have to like discuss other stuff too.
Mhm.
Dragon Ball Superhero looks good. I like the fact that it's on Gohan. I like the fact Goku and Vegeta are out of this movie, and I could do one arc without them. they're going to show Broly, but I don't think it's going to like last for very long. But I and I'm kind of rooting for Gohan,
Mhm.
although I think this is a movie about Pan, but we'll see. I just hope.
Yeah,
I
but
just hope
yeah,
it's good.
but one thing I do wonder though, does this have anything to do with the manga? Is this canon?
It's going to take place after the manga, so Broly and Goku are training along with Vegeta,
I
and
really hope. I really hope Broly don't speak.
I see why you would say that. But
I
he,
No, I think he's gonna talk.
what do you want? Geek, you want to say something?
No, I said I really do believe Broly's possibly gonna talk.
No, your thoughts on the movie, like your thoughts on the
Uh,
trailer before we'll
Um,
discuss
I'm
Bleach on last because that's the most hype thing they had.
mean, I'm still gonna watch it. You know, it's Dragon Ball. Like I said, I know some people are complaining about cell shaded CGI. Anime. I know some folks don't like that, but more days anime is gonna be made into that, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. Some of them, it happens.
yeah, you broke my heart, bro. I didn't want to hear
Yeah, I know.
it.
it'll
Yeah.
just be a situation. It'll just be a situation of people not watching in because a lot of people are tuned in for 2D animation, and it's worked in sparing instances, like in Full Metal Alchemist. The only time
Yeah.
they had 3D animation was with that one homunculi, and that was it. So they used it sparingly. But you can't have an entire anime or an entire movie be CGI. Now, this is weird to me because as a gamer, I'm looking at these graphics and I'm like, okay, yeah, I love this CGI. If it was a video game, I'd be cool
Mm-hmm.
with it because it does have a good look for a video game, but for a movie, a major motion picture, or an anime, no, I don't want to see this. I want to see hand drawn images, not this stuff.
This is the type of CGI they used for also for 009 on Netflix, and including the movie that came out. So they're going to be using,
And
and also Blame. So this is the type of CGI you're going to be getting. And I know people don't like it or anything like that, but let's just see how the film is.
and people say like, oh, it's CGI is easier to do, and normally I would agree, but it's not like this movie came right an year after Dragon Ball Super Broly came. It didn't even have 2 years time. They had a 3 years to come up with something good, and they just like decided to have a 3D animation, which really is off-putting. But I like the CGI in this one. But I still prefer the Shintani one. I don't know why. If something's not broken, why fix it? But moving to another anime. Um, what do so let's just like I said, we'll discuss Bleach afterwards. Let's start small. Um,
Hell's Paradise.
I'll get to that later. But like so, the other thing that was announced is Boruto manga is going to have two separate mangas, which has Kakashi as the main character in one and Sasuke as the main character in the other. Uh,
Now you mentioned Boruto, and I was just like,
but it's not going to be Boruto. It's like a Kakashi.
oh,
Okay.
So
okay.
Well,
for Sasuke.
okay. So what's the next topic? Because I think we're done here. We heard whatever we had.
Oh my God, Natsu, you where's your mind?
Even Natsu doesn't want to even hear Boruto. You see that?
I I was going to say like so basically, the creator of Boruto and Boruto's dad, Masashi Kishimoto, announced
That
that
he's canceling.
there's going to be a manga on Kakashi and Sasuke as the main characters. One manga where Kakashi is the main character, and the other where Sasuke is the main character.
He really liked the Uchiha clan, huh?
Well, now Otsutsuki's clan all the rage these days because you have one Otsutsuki appearing after the other.
No,
But
wait. I'm sorry, Kakashi. He's not part of the Uchiha. I meant to say he really liked the Sharingan. That he's gonna give two characters who survived the war and have the Sharingan side stories.
hmm and apparently has nothing to do with the continuity of the manga. I think it Moto 2 beforehand, where Sasuke used to have a Rinnegan, where basically, if what I'm hearing is correct, Naruto gets sick, and both of these characters have to travel all over the world to search for a cure. It's the same illness as
So
what Stage of the Sixth Part had.
so like all those medical ninjas, they can't do nothing. Sakura is just still useless.
Yup.
Point of
Even
making this then?
so, Kakashi is going to search for a cure along with Sasuke for Naruto's chakra illness, where if it's left untreated, he would become like the Sage of the Sixth Path, where he would where he would die. So they're just trying to help him up. So uh,
Boruto's just stupid. Period.
on the other hand, it's not about Boruto this time. I don't know how to feel about Sasuke as the main character. I feel like he's been so useless throughout this entire series that I wouldn't mind him doing something and actually be useful.
Okay,
As for Kakashi,
okay. You're
hmm,
talking about sorry. So you're talking about Sasuke. What about Kakashi? Kakashi has been
I'm
pretty
getting
worse.
I'm getting to that. But with Sasuke, I like if they're going to have him do something instead of losing his chakra over sneezing, then I'm all for it. With Kakashi, I do feel like Kakashi was the one who was one of the people who was fucked over the most because he lost his Sharingan, and I thought he was nerfed. But then a bunch of people say, "Oh, Kakashi's not nerfed anymore. Now he's not losing his chakra constantly, and on top of that, he is he has gotten stronger." So now I want to see what Kakashi can do, what he can do without the Sharingan. So I'm interested to see that, and I always like Kakashi. I may not have liked him in the Boruto series, but I still liked him, and I do want to see. I'm sold on the idea of Kakashi as a main character. I just wished I would have gotten to see him as a copy ninja because we still don't know what he's capable of during his time. Like, how did he become this powerful? What thousands of jutsus he copied, and how did he gain his fame? Because he was always like a side character, and we never really got to see much of him. And I do wish they focus more on the past, but they wanted to show Kakashi with a Sharingan, and I am okay with that. With Sasuke, okay, considering how well he's been used in Boruto, I'm fine with him. That's the only thought I can give. Basically, TLDR, I'm glad that Sasuke is being used as an important character again who can do shit. And I want to see what Kakashi can do without this Sharingan. That's all I want to add. Anyone else want to say something?
Boruto sucks. Yeah, go on.
The only thing Kakashi could do without the Sharingan is to change the lightning blade into purple. That's the only thing. That
Apparently,
was
he's
the
able to turn Earth style into glass style to counter the lightning strikes.
nigga what? How you?
He's able.
But
He mastered his Earth style so to a degree that now he has a counter to lightning styles, where he can basically turn all the Earth style jutsus into quads, basically make a mirror. So all the lightning style would get deflected towards the enemy.
oh god, I really hope they really expand that because wasn't it in Naruto Kakashi was like this dependent on the Sharingan, like
That's what I thought
everything,
too.
like everything he learned or did was all because of that eye. So now he lost the eye and he's still learning these new tricks without
Apparently,
the
he's
eye.
stronger. He's stronger now. That's what this series is implying. He can use different kinds of fire style jutsu. He's creating jutsus. He's evolving the earth style nature. And that's what I'm saying. Apparently, he got a buff by losing the Sharingan, and that's what I want to see. What buff he's gotten.
In my opinion, I really think that's kind of stupid though.
Yeah. I do wish
So
he
you
kept the
get nerf.
Sharingan.
So you lose your most powerful thing, but you still get stronger. But
Yeah.
all the main villains of that series have those eyes, and then they was beating everybody ass. But right when you lose yours, you get powerful.
Yep. Because now he doesn't have an albatross this time. Now he's training. He's not having his chakra reserves. He's not losing his chakra by using the Sharingan. That's why. But I see your point. I do wish Kakashi kept two Sharingans and is able to like turn them off and on at the same time, even though he's not an Uchiha. But they just wanted Kakashi to lose his Sharingans, I guess. So there you go. He's stronger somehow, and I want to see how he's strong because I always see Kakashi as a strong character with the Sharingan instead of without it. Hell, he even lost his ability to use Lightning Blade. I mean, I get that he's using Purple
How?
Lightning this time, but still, he needed
Wait,
the
wait,
Sharingan.
wait. How did he lose Lightning Blade? Did
So
he like learn Lightning Blade before he got the eyes?
yeah, but like the thing with that is it exposed him in the sense that he gets tunnel vision and he's not able to like pinpoint the enemy directly. So with the Sharingan, it pretty much cancels negates the effect of tunnel vision when using the lightning blade and allows him to aim properly. So
So
since even though he can still use the Shidori, he's having tunnel vision and that's why light purple lightning was created.
so you telling me they are ninjas in the in the time where it's like a whole bunch of technology and everything. They can't make like some type of contacts for his eyes that he can't get tunnel vision.
No, no. He needed the Sharingan. But
They could clone dead people. They could make their own jutsus with ninja tools, but they cannot make a special pair of contacts for the
they could
Hokage.
they could clone dead people, but they could not give one of the Hokages the ability to use the Sharingan, or well, I'll at least allow him to use Lightning Blade or any of his lightning style jutsus. So he had to make a new one, Purple Lightning, which is a weaker lightning blade that he can also throw at people.
Hey,
But
hey, downgrades or the new buff now.
somehow, yeah, down. he is supposedly buffed when it looks like he got downgraded. But then, how many times have we even seen Kakashi fight for real? But geek perfection, you want to add certain things to a Kakashi manga or a Sasuke manga?
I might be interested to see. I don't know though. Like at this point, they're suffering from the Dragon Ball problem. Like this is if like you told me that we were gonna get a TN or a Yamcha manga when we all know that all the new characters are like galaxy level or at least planet destroyer level. So there's no sense of tension there. So I don't know. I'm at a wait and see approach with that.
Geek.
Um, like I said before, if they do a good job, that would be interesting. But as far as I'm concerned, Baruto has been a complete disappointment. Basically, it's the GT of Naruto, and I'm not taking it back.
I will say this. I would have loved, because there's so much shit on the past that they never really explored upon. They keep talking about Madras and Hashirama's part, but we never really saw them fight. And we never really saw anything involving the third Okage. We never really saw anything with Kakashi as a Sharingan wielder, and without it, not much as not as much as they should have. We haven't even seen anything of Minato. I wish they had a separate story for the past before the events of Naruto happened, where they could do this like the JoJo style, where they could focus from one era to the next era, how things were during the warring state period to how things were during the Fourth Shinobi World War, how things were during the Second Shinobi World War, how the legendary Sanins were actually a thing, certain things that is not explored properly. And I kind of wish they had focused on something like that. They wanted to give us a Sasuke story. I don't know why they couldn't give us a Konohamaru story. I'm convinced Kishimoto hates Konohamaru. I mean, even in the anime, he's useless and getting his ass kicked, but in the manga, he's barely there. He's not even important anymore. And I don't know. I just Boruto is a series I hate, but I do want to see how Kakashi is going to be like and how Sasuke is going to be like, and what they can do without having plot armor of Boruto constantly bothering them. But we'll see. As of right now, I'm interested, but that's the most I can say for it. I'm not excited because nothing he has done really excites me. And I wish, and there's no way you could have continued past the Naruto story. And I just feel that way. Let's go with Matsu. Do you want to say on the Kakashi and Sasuke thing before we move on?
I honestly think that this is just their way to make money, and they have no faith in the new generation, so they're basically doing this, and I'm not happy with it. So yeah, let's continue on.
All right. So next is, let me see, Rurouni Kenshin.
Oh, what?
Rurouni Kenshin's
So
coming
Rurouni
back.
Kenshin is getting an anime adaptation. I
Reboot.
don't know if it's a.
It's a reboot. It's a reboot. They're actually rebooting the entire series.
I'm gonna watch that. That's
Saying,
hype.
yep.
That is
That was
unquestionably.
that was a great show.
And people will say, "Oh, it's done by a pedophile, so I won't do it." Otaku, he was here. I mean, he can't join, unfortunately, but he doesn't, and I understand his reason. I'm not going to force him,
Mm.
but he said like it's done by a pedophile, so I don't want to see the series. I understand that, but on the other hand, you can separate an art from the artist. You may not like the person, but you can still appreciate the art he has, the work he has done. And I always feel that way. I'm also always able to separate it, so I can always enjoy a series without seeing that, oh yeah, it's done by this piece of shit.
Yeah, he's not
But
involved with it at all. And the new one at all. He's not even involved with this.
yeah, but like, don't punish what he has done with the series because of his actions outside of it. But we'll see. So is it like going to be a reboot from the start, or they're just going to do the last arc
Yes,
properly that they haven't even
it's
been able
no,
to?
it's a whole entire reboot of it.
That's actually fantastic and great. And I overall thought like the show was awesome, and it made you think about the past and stuff. And I love the sword fighting styles of these characters too. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't wait. I didn't know about this.
It's gonna be amazing.
What about you two? Perfection and Gears.
I'm gonna be real with you. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know nothing about that anime.
Okay, you
Well,
missed out on a part of childhood, bro. It's okay. Go on.
No, I know who you're talking about, but
mm,
I saw like little scenes of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even understand what the whole thing, what the whole show is about. The only thing I know is a samurai just cutting people off, and that's That's it. So
So from you, this is a samurai who doesn't kill people because he's using a blunt blade, which doesn't kill you but hurt you.
no, I remember being like really young, and I saw like a scene on Tsunami of him cutting somebody.
Oh,
It
that was
was
his past. He doesn't do it anymore. He's using a blunt blade now instead of a
uh
sharp one.
uh
Right?
I might watch it.
No,
It's
yeah,
interesting.
Done by
yeah.
Lids.
So what?
That Lids is gonna be doing it.
It's timeless. I will say this. Which studio you said?
Lids.
Which one? Blade?
Lids. Lids.
I never heard of that one. What did they do besides that? Do you know of their other work?
Yeah. They honestly, what did they do? They did like a bunch of stuff. I think they did. What did they do? Can't can't remember the name of the anime, but they did a bunch of. They did a bunch other anime and stuff. So I do think it's gonna be good.
So,
Terraformers. Sorry, they did Terraformers season 1 and 2.
oh,
Two,
so
two.
Yeah, they did. They do. They did do two. I'm not. They did do two. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh God,
doesn't look good, but we'll see. But this Hari Pater guy, I don't know
that's a
what
bot.
language you spoke. It's obviously not English. I don't think it's any human language. Please, I appreciate you dropping by and commenting, but you probably should consider typing in something a human being can understand. Um,
All right.
Affection.
I don't know. I'm middle of the ground with that.
All right. So moving past that is so.
Bleach. Okay, go on.
Oh, Bleach is like the last thing. They
Okay.
did other stuff too. Um, Spy X Family. I never really read the manga, but it does look good. It's basically a spy and assassin and a psychic as a
Yeah.
family.
Yes. My friend was telling me about that. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that.
It was pretty popular before it even got an anime adaptation, and it looks like a slice of life one, but I'll still look at it. Mm, I assume none of you watched it.
No, I don't know what that
No, I
is.
No,
haven't. I haven't seen it at all. I seen the trailer though, and I'm looking forward to watching it once they release it.
So let's just move on then. About so Hell's Paradise is another one that came out.
Yes.
I read the manga before they announced the anime adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a pretty good. It's like Hunger Games meeting Naruto, meeting Chainsaw Man, meeting Jujutsu Kaisen, which is in all of it in a good way. It's
Yeah.
besides Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man, it's like one of the dark trinities of Shonen Jump. And funnily enough, all of them are being done by MAPPA
Yep.
Studio. I would suggest all of you to like watch the trailer of it.
I spent saw the trailer of it to Jump Fest. I was like intrigued by it when I saw it.
It's it's pretty good. It has an amazing power system, and it's the only manga where you can have sex with someone and gain powerful, and it's not bullshit. Looking at Redo of Healer right here.
what about Fate?
Hmm?
What about Fate? Fate Stay Night.
Oh, well, it's even basically you have to be compatible. Minor spoilers there.
Mm.
You can't have sex without being compatible. Otherwise, you'll
Oh,
not be
oh
able to send
yeah,
energy.
and Baki.
Oh, Baki is no comments. So I would recommend all of you to watch the trailer. It's they didn't give anything away, but it's still pretty interesting. And I do feel like they can't have like two seasons or something because it's a pretty short story. And I don't know where they will be able to live off. I'll still, I think they're going to do the entire anime, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, bro.
Now the other thing,
Chainsaw Man, like that
Chainsaw
trailer.
Man.
Yeah. First of all, I'm excited for Chainsaw Man anime. I just think like what they showed with the second trailer, I was kind of a little disappointed with it because they only showed a little bit of the anime and they showed like a bunch of manga panels, and I was just like, shouldn't have been this the first trailer, and then the other one should have been the second trailer, because I was kind of a little bit disappointed with that when they showed it. And I was like, "Oh, I'm excited for it," but this trailer was kind of disappointing. I thought it was going to be something more amazing and spectacular. That they were going to show us like more stuff from the animation. Instead, they showed us a panel and then like a little animation of the characters saying come in 2022.
At first, I didn't. I felt the same way as you, but then I find out that they're doing like the part two of Chainsaw Man because the manga's ended. The story that they're adapting, its manga ended, and they're pretty much doing the Chainsaw Man part two, where they're going basically the entire first manga was basically one arc, and they're going to follow up with another arc that is going to be Chainsaw Man 2. So
All
since
right.
it's coming out in summer of next year, I'm excited to see, and I think it made my day because I've been like, when the fuck are they going to announce the new manga? But turns out that they are. So I'm glad. I didn't think it's time being wasted. But yeah, I see your point. They should probably show you some, like, you can't go by one thing over one trailer. You should probably show another anime trailer, but they didn't want to. I understand. I just think if done right, it could be a breakout anime, and we'll see. I wonder how many arcs are they going to adapt in that mini arcs they're going to adapt in one season that they're doing. So before we get into Bleach, there's another thing we have to talk about, that is the Jujutsu Kaisen movie that came out because they showed another trailer.
Oh, that looks sick.
Definitely. Um, I would like Jujutsu Kaisen as another recommendation I would give people to watch because it's pretty good. And the movie is pretty much adapting the four arcs. And you don't have to like watch the anime before you watch the manga. Sorry, you watch the movie, you can watch either one at any point. And as I said before, with Jujutsu Kaisen manga, I think I didn't mention it here. But Jujutsu Kaisen manga is something where action be a bit confusing. But it's great, but since it's manga panels, it can be a little bit rough around the edges. With the anime, the fights look pretty cool, and I actually want to see what a lot of these characters can do. Um, I think this movie is going to be great. It came out now. I'll see for a pirated site where I could watch it. But it's another thing. Like, you don't have to watch the series to watch this movie, and you can just watch this movie anyway. And I think that's what good about it. I would recommend all of you to watch once it's out for you. But we'll see. I think it's great. I think it's going to be beautiful. Now let's get to Bleach, since we pretty much ended anything that a lot of people may not know about. So Bleach has been gone since 2013, right? And it's been what, 8 years, or was it 7 years? I think it's been 8 years. Not see you there, or are you just dozed off again?
I'm here. What's up?
All right. We're talking about Bleach, by the way.
Yay! Okay, go.
All right, go go go.
So um I'm like, I thought a different studio's doing it, and it looks like they're going to have like suffer the censorship, even though they've given it a little bit of a relief. But on the other hand, I actually like this. I actually like the animation, even if we've seen like 10 seconds of it. But the final arc, and I'm not like, I know a lot of you like anime watchers. The final arc, as I said multiple times, it has the strongest first arc, and then they had a weak, pretty bad second half. And the final chapters were pretty rushed, where the villain became so overpowered, and then he lost the most bullshit way possible. I do hope I don't even care about blood for Bleach. I just hope they add a lot of fillers as long as it's with this one arc alone. And on top of that, I do hope they add extra scenes because that is what Studio Period does. They can make an action scene much better than the manga can by adding extra scenes to it. Case in point, the Madara vs Shinobi Alliance, Kakashi vs Obito, Naruto vs Sasuke. Both fights, the original one and the second one that they had in the Valley of the End. I just hope they actually focus. Merry Christmas, Dan. It is me, Geek, Natsu, Perfection, and Gears. Um, I kind of wish, like, I just hope that they actually do this properly and add scenes that they're not able to add in the manga. At least show all of the bunkais of the other Shinigamis in this final battle. But we'll see. I don't have to
Uh,
know about a light novel. Continue. Sorry.
oh no, no, I was gonna say I don't. I like Bleach. I love it. It's one of my top, probably top five anime.
Hmm.
But the way that I'm feeling about this return, I didn't like the steep change in animation because if I'm being honest, like especially the shot with Ichigo, it looked like they were using CG. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way that I took it, but I'm not. I'm kind of. I'm waiting to see more, but I don't like the animation direction they're taking because it just looks too radically different from the old Bleach, and I think that's something they need to go back and look at. Also, I think that a lot of people are getting hyped up over the wrong things because I can tell you now with the way that censorship is going in anime, everything that you think you're gonna like with Bleach coming back is going to be ridiculously censored. Like Yoruichi is getting censored. All the Stern Ritters are getting censored and watered down. Trust me, if you thought you were coming into this to catch that, besides just like the action, there's a lot of stuff that's about to be watered down in this anime. But the animation just has me bothered right now. If I can see more that kind of checks those concerns, I'll be happy about it coming back to some degree.
I agree. And like certain fights, and they like certain things are going to be like pretty violent that they might not show. But I don't think it's like the blood or the censorship that's an issue. I think the issue is how they're going to take the story. Because you can tell by the second half the writer just wanted the story to be over with quickly. And a lot of this was, I understand why it had to be done this way, but at the same time, a lot of this felt so rushed and so bad. You can't even make this shit up. People hated the fourth Shinobi World War of Naruto, and because certain things felt rushed, Bleach took that and made it 100 times worse. And trust me, if unless they do something with that and add more scenes and fights and whatever, even alter the story a little bit, unless they do that, you're all going to be disappointed. But I don't want to be a bummer. I mean, as I'm glad that Bleach is getting a proper ending that it never got, but it's either going like you're prepared to be disappointed. I like curb some of that excitement down. even though you haven't seen that show for a while, is what I'm saying. And that's all I have to add. Natsuki Gias.
I mean, I'm still gonna go in with high expectations.
I just think it's
So
what
I'm going. No, no, no. Go on.
I just think it's about time that Bleach is back and we get to finally see the finish of Bleach and stuff like that. And I just looked at the animation, and animation does kind of look different.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm okay with it as long as like I enjoy the action and I enjoy the OSTs and stuff like that. They didn't really show that much in the trailer itself. Uh, but they just gave us like some snippets and stuff like that. But I'm hopeful that it's going to be a great continuation of the show, and we're gonna all be impressed and be happy about it.
So like, so this is gonna be like the final season, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes.
like, are they gonna animate this the spin-off series as filler, or are they just gonna make or like are they just gonna make their own filler?
Since it's done by Studio Period, possibly they're going to do the spin-off as well as.
Oh, okay,
But
because I know because I
not.
know because I know like the original one, they did like the little vampire ones, and that was filler, and that wasn't in the manga. So
I think they're going to do it that way. Like Studio Period is notorious for a lot of fillers, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. With every Bleach filler they've done, I didn't like any single one of them. But I think this one is. I would not mind story being altered or some filler scenes as long as it's happening in this arc and not focusing on some different arc. It's always disjointing, and I do hope they keep those bad habits away. But at the same time, do filler that serve the story, especially of this one particular arc that you're promoting. And I don't like alter the story a little bit. Have the creator involved and say, you know what, fuck this. I didn't like this. Even though I did it before, I was tired. But since I'm now recovered, I can do something else. This is how you should go about it. But we'll see. I don't think that's happening. But uh, we'll see. I'm just saying I understand why people are excited about it. To some degree, I am as well. But on the other hand, just if the story is going to go the way I think it's going to go, just you're all going to be disappointed because you might as well just leave it with the Ginjo arc being over than whatever they decide to do with. But
But I think whether we feel good about it or bad about it, Bleach does deserve its ending, and we're finally gonna get it. So I'm happy about that.
I agree with that statement. I wish it gets one. We'll see.
let's all hope. Let us all hope they don't pull a Boruto right when they finish this season.
I think they will.
No, no, I hope not.
Apparently they did. I heard
But
they
you know, it's
focused
already
on the
done.
kids.
Yeah, yeah. I think you know they actually possibly might do that, but it might be a better story. I mean, Inuyasha did it, and it's really doing good right now, even for the new anime, and it's way better than Boruto. Sorry, be salty all you like.
I think they have done already focused on the kids, but I'm not sure. So anything else we forgot to mention?
New
What
One
about My
Piece.
Hero Academia
What
season 6?
new? Okay. We'll see. We'll see. With the my villain arc, they split it into two. So we're finally gonna finish it up, even though it should have just been split into one. Even though Season 5 was kind of a disappointment.
Season 6 is going to be interesting because I'm already a manga
Yeah,
reader. I've seen the season 6 and
shouldn't have split it into two, but unfortunately they wanted to do that, so it is what it is.
I mean, light spoilers. Light spoilers. I'm just glad they got rid of Mirko.
okay. I mean, yeah. um,
And then we're getting a new One Piece movie.
have they shown the One Piece trailer or they haven't?
I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to like watch it for a One Piece panel and everything. There was like so much stuff going on.
Eh, well, that's pretty much Jump Fester.
It was good. It was
I
actually really good this year compared to last year because last year was a desert.
Yeah, because they haven't shown anything for people to be excited about. At least in this one, they actually did. And next year looks to be really good.
for the anime world.
Yep.
Yes, we're
This year
eager.
has been pretty dry comparatively. Even though there are some good anime, it's still pretty much a desert, as Critical Geek puts it.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, as much as I love Demon Slayer season 2 has been kind of extremely disappointing.
I heard they're finally doing season 2 properly. What they promoted. Have you seen
Finally,
that?
good. We're not doing the Mugen Train arc. I heard they're already done with it, which is
They're
good.
done with it. But um, we'll see. So is it a possibility they're going to do a third movie this time, a second movie this time, and the season 3 is going to do the same
I don't
thing where they adapt the movie story
don't
and
do
then
it.
to season 3?
It doesn't make any sense. Like it just doesn't.
I
If
mean,
they
it does.
do,
It makes the story go longer
if they do,
because it's pretty short.
if they do the third movie, I just think it's just gonna be like a copy and paste of the Ren Goku one. You know that they just gotta kill off one of the pillars, and then when the new characters learn some type of new move, it's probably gonna be the insect killer, or who the mist pillar that's gonna die, and then one of those characters is gonna learn a new move.
You know, I can actually go about that because they eventually do it, but I would have to spoil you. And Gios already knows what happens in the final arc, or at least the final fight of the manga. Demon Slayer is another show where you're going to be disappointed with the final arc. Not everything that happened, but by the time they decided to have the main villain fight the heroes,
Mhm.
you're going to be like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? It
No,
makes no sense.
I'll
You're
find
going to
out
be
for
all
myself.
acting that way.
Yeah. That I mean that's the biggest highlight for this year was supposed to be Demon Slayer like season 2 when it came out, and I was like, okay, why are we doing Mugen Train arc again? All right, we're gonna do 7 episodes. Then you find out like Demon Slayer is only gonna have like 11 episodes for season 2, and you're just like, dude, why?
By the way, Zan, it's Christmas for me. It's already past 12 a.m. It's 25 in my country. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much Jump Festa. It's pretty good. Next year is going to be pretty good.
Yep.
And I do hope nothing that they show is actually disappointing, even though some of them are going to be eventually.
Hmm.
But we'll see.
Yes, we will.
Um, so I think that's pretty much like the stream.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to have like their final thoughts or something before we end it? No one? All right then. So if you like this stream, leave a like and subscribe for more awesome content. Thank you all for joining,
No problem.
and for all the people who watched and commented, thank you for watching it. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you people. I probably won't do another stream on that, but oh my god, I want to use an atheist gamer line, but it never mind. Bye bye, people.